like not hot, not cold also. So it's nice. It's just the rain. Now the monsoon is like going, so it will have some days of rain and some days of no rain.
Fantastic. So, good afternoon and a very warm welcome, everyone. We've got a very special session planned today called Cook Fresh Homegrown and Homemade Noodles and Pasta with professional chef and co founder of Edible Archives. She was also with with the Diva group of restaurants. I'm sure if you've been in Delhi, you might have eaten there. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sukirti Gupta. I am the co founder of Sipping Thoughts. Sipping Thoughts is a multi platform media company that was co founded by me and by Meeta Gudgutia. It was set up keeping in mind the tagline Real Women, Real Thoughts. It's a space for women to share their ideas and to be heard. We want to create a no judgment platform and create a network of women for women. Sipping Thoughts reaches about 2 million women on a monthly basis. We're available on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course, our website. Do check it out. We have lots and lots of interesting sessions that are coming up. But today we are all about cooking and cooking fresh. So today with Chef Anumitra, we will be using basic ingredients. She will demonstrate how we can make Asian style noodles and Italian style pasta at home from scratch. She will be pairing them with a variety of sustainable homegrown ingredients for two delicious meals. As a lot of us have turned home chefs in this pandemic, I think it'll be very exciting that if we can also be making homemade pasta and noodles also. Anumitra, she is a
Yeah.
professional chef and she's the co-founder of Edible Archives, which is a restaurant and an art research project that is based in Anjana, Goa, which works with indigenous ingredients. She has been covered in The Week, NPR, The Scroll, The Hindu, and many, many leading publications. She has presented dinners for the India International Center's annual arts festival in 2017 and also in 2019. She also did the opening lunch for the marketplace in 2018. Most recently, she was working in Delhi with the Diva group of fine dining restaurants. She also, and this is what is most surprising to most people, at least it was for me, she holds a PhD in cognitive linguistics from the University of Delhi. So, to get us started, first of all, Anu, I have to ask you this question. How does one move from cognitive linguistics to being a chef?
Uh, I think that I was interested in cooking. I come from a home where we have a lot of very good chefs. There are books on our family recipes and all that. But it is never considered a job that like my parents would agree that their daughter will do. So when I wanted to become a chef, there was no option. So I just tell it as a joke that I had to finish my PhD to be a chef because I had to do that to prove that okay, now I can be on my own.
So very, very exciting. With that, I will let you get started because I know you're going to explain to us that why did you choose noodles and pasta? And because you also come from the language background, you'll be telling us a lot of stories also about this and a little bit also about Edible Archives as we get going into this.
Yes. So I'll do one thing. I'll start some work, and while that is happening, then I will also talk about Edible Archives, about why I have chosen pasta and noodles. There is a reason behind that. First, I'll introduce my chef Geeta here. She will be helping me because we will do many things together. In a restaurant setup, we never work alone because you need to do many things in no time. People expect that we can do magic in no time, so I can't do everything with two hands. So I have got four hands, and I'm going to start.
So
So
for those
first,
of you at home, please involve others to make sure you also get four hands.
yes. So first, what I'm going to do, I'll show you one technique to do like eggs. When we boil eggs, so I'll do many things. When we cook in the kitchen in the restaurant, we call it mise en place. So you make everything ready before you start cooking because then the cooking takes 2 minutes. So what I'll do is first for the noodles, I'm going to make a ramen egg. and I'm going to tell you a trick how to make a ramen egg perfect. So what you do is the water should boil, and when the water is boiling you have to put the egg. But before that we do a small trick, which is that I just take a small needle, a very thin needle, and when you take the egg and the side which is the narrow side, the in the center of the narrow side you poke the needle. So when you poke the needle and take it out, little bit of air comes out, and that makes it the egg perfect. So after you do that, what we do is we put the egg after the water start boiling properly, which is not done yet. So after it will start boiling, I'll put the egg. And meanwhile, we will also start cooking the noodle or the pasta, whatever you call. No, what we do with pasta, we take 250 grams of regular flour. Though in edible archives, we try to use most of the indigenous things, indigenous ingredients. So we try to get the flour also from indigenous resources. In Goa recently, now after lockdown, I'm only finding like this particular wheat called khapli. So I use the flour, but I use non-bleached but um, white flour from this particular wheat. So what we generally do on a cooking, like when we are cooking it in the restaurant, that we put the whole maida on the table, on the surface. Then we make a hole, and then we start cooking putting eggs. So for 250 grams of maida, so in noodles, one egg, when you take out the egg, it is about 60 to 65 grams. So when it comes to noodles, we put double the maida. But when it comes to pasta, we put 1.5 times more maida. The ratio of maida is to flour is to egg is 1.5 and 1, like 1.5 and 1. But in this case, because I am going to make with the same noodle, I am going to make pasta also and noodle also. So for each egg, so for 2.5, uh,
250 grams. We lost your voice, Anumitra. Anumitra?
I'll show you how to do the perfect egg for the noodle. So, no, it'll just break and do it.
So can you repeat that for 250 grams? How many eggs do we need?
So for 250 grams, I'm using 3 eggs.
And is it possible to make pasta or noodles without eggs? Can you, Dr. Mona is asking.
Yes, you can definitely make without noodles. Use the same thing. Like when I'm saying eggs, it's also about the liquid. So you use the similar kind of liquid. Say if you are using 250 grams of flour, and if you are using water instead of eggs, then don't use like instead of 3 eggs, which is around 180 grams, you use about half water first. So if it is 250 grams of flour, it's 125 to 130 grams of water, and use about 20 ml of oil.
Okay. Was that clear? So 20 ml of oil and about 125 grams of water. So if you don't want to use eggs, you can actually make it eggless also.
So all the eggs that I am going to make the ramen egg for, I have poked the narrow side. The end of the narrow side, just one slight poke, all the excessive air comes out. So you get a perfectly soft boiled egg. So I have started doing the soft boiled egg. I'm just so it will, after you have put one, like you put whatever egg and number of eggs, you have to calculate 6 minutes. I am not going to keep these minutes here perfectly because I have to finish everything. But you have to do 6 minutes and then you take out the egg and put it directly in ice water and keep it for another couple of minutes, and then you break the egg. Meanwhile, Geeta is making the dough, and so Geeta will be all the three eggs. You try to the idea is that the dough should be little hard. So don't go for an easy way like roti. You don't think that the dough will be like it will be very soft. It will be little hard. It will take about 10 minutes to like 5 to 10 minutes depending on your experience to get a like glossy kind of a dough. So meanwhile Geeta is doing this, I'll go to the next step because I have lot to show. So I'm not going to show the this thing, the egg, like the boiling of the egg. Now I'll show you how to do the sauce for the egg. So you just boil it for 6 minutes, then 2 more minutes for in the ice bath. Then what you do is you take then you take 1 cup of water. One cup of water means about like 150 to 200 ml. So I'm counting around 150 ml. Then about 30 ml of dark soya, light soya. And 2 spoons of 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, and then you put a little bit of sesame oil.
So you're adding the sesame oil after you put in the water?
Yes, so everything you put together first, then you add the sesame oil. So first what I did was I put this thing, water, around 150 to 200 ml, like around 150, 180 ml. Then about 30 ml of light soya. Here I am trying to use either Picoman or Likunki because most of the soya doesn't have the same flavor. So I am specifying my recipe. And then you put about 1.5 spoon of sugar. And then when it starts, like when you put it in the heat, then you put little bit of sesame oil, which you can see on top. So this sesame oil will give the flavor and bind all of them together. So let it boil. It will boil, and then after that I will use the egg, which is 6 minutes cooked and 2 minutes in ice bath. Then I'll put it and simmer it for another 1 or 2 minutes to get a ramen egg. This is a kind of a ramen egg. I'm giving you a simplified recipe of a ramen egg. While we are doing this, like Geeta is making the dough, as you see that like after the 300 ml of this thing, she is using about 10 ml of water. Just to give it a little moist towards the end, you need about 10 ml of water.
Anumitra, can you show us the dough closer to the camera so people can get an idea of what the dough is looking like right now?
Right now, it is like this. Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so and it will get better. So the color and the glossiness will come as you do the dough for another 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Meanwhile, the thing is the water is not yet boiling, but like almost simmering. So we will start doing that. Yeah, so the ramen, I am just going to do the ramen egg first because it takes just few minutes. I want to finish it and go to the next step.
So what have you put? You put the whole boiled egg in there, or have you, what have you just put into the
So I have put the egg. This is just normal. You peel the egg and you put it.
Okay.
And then you simmer it for a couple of minutes. So that's why when you put it, you simmer it for a couple of minutes, and then you put it in the with the sauce in a container. Then it will get its the color, the dark color outside.
For those that don't eat eggs, what else could they put in the ramen? What would be interesting for them?
Sorry.
For those people that don't have eggs, what could they substitute instead of eggs?
Uh, Look, instead of egg, I can't. I will show. I will give. I'll put for vegetarian. I have got some pickled. This is pickled beetroot. Okay, can you see?
Yes.
So this pickled beetroot we are going to put anyway for the whole look, but also I especially got it for people who are vegetarians. If you like the noodle recipe, so actually I should tell that I'm going to make a pasta, which is pasta aglio olio, very simple, no non-veg, like one of the basic recipe. For noodles, I'm going to use a chicken noodles. I'll make a chicken noodles, but it will have elements so that you can make it vegetarian also very easy. Why? Also, I'll just explain little bit while this egg is anyway done. While I'm doing other stuff, I'll just explain why I picked up this particular thing to show. So while I was traveling and doing a lot of work in Italy and both Italy and in China, I realized that actually there are a lot of similarities between both the cuisines. That we like, the base similarity. So as a linguist, I always find mm, like it is. I always find that food is very similar, like language. In the sense that in language also in Chomsky theory, like there are principles of like which are common in all the language in the world, and then there are parameters which define one particular language. So basically, noodles and pasta is very similar in nature, and both of them are in China. This is like other than rice. This is one of the base food. Like one of the. So I'm actually picking both the recipes which are the top. So one of the basic things in say in Italian food, the aglio olio pasta is one of the most comfort food like dal chawal in India. And in China also a very simple chicken noodle bowl is one of the basic things. So this is our noodle bowl is almost ready. Sorry, our noodle dough is ready, but it needs to rest. None of
Show the dough again so that we can see it close up, Anumitra. Just show it, yes.
So this is the dough, but it needs to rest for half an hour now. So we don't have half an hour. I'm going to start. I have like got another noodle dough which has been already which is already resting for last half an hour. So Geeta will start making the noodle and the pasta with the machine. While she is doing it, I will just maybe talk a little bit more about this the principles and parameters of food or cuisine. So like language, it is also like like both. Say in all the language, you can find subject, verb, object, and verb, and the combination of these three things actually define some of the structural similarities of language. Similarly, in food also there are a lot of similarities. When this noodles and pasta, like when I started thinking about it, it is so similar because both of them are very basic food, and also if you are Indian, if you have dal and chawal, then the way you have it, it is a very basic way. In restaurant, when you go or in in a function or something special, then it is special. Otherwise, people actually do it in a very basic way because comfort food is never complicated. It is a mass food. It should be like people with minimum effort will be able to cook it. Also, it needs minimum ingredients and all that. So that's why I thought that pasta and noodles, these two very popular cuisine, have such an interesting similarity, and it's just the expression is different. In pasta, you cook it little differently and like with different flavors. Those are like as a linguist, I call that the parameters are different. And in noodles also, you cook it with different sauces. So it is the parameters are different, but the code or the principles are quite similar. That's why we could easily do a dough which can also work for pasta and both for noodles. So while Rita is making the dough ready, the noodle or slash pasta ready, I am going to make the go for the next step, where I will show you that
Anumita, can you show us though, before you go to the next step, how is she making the dough ready for the pasta maker?
Okay, so basically after you make the dough and rest it for 30 minutes, then you flour it. You have to make it flat, and then you put little bit of flour on top so that it doesn't stick to your machine. So this is our pasta machine. And
how thin should it be?
It doesn't need to be thin. It can be thick because the machine is also, in this machine you do two steps. So in one step, we are going to make the sheet. Let's start doing the sheet first. So if you see there are six kind of, like it's written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have to start with the 6, and then the 6 is the thick. So it gives more space. Basically, you are now flattening the dough. So this is flattening the dough, and it is happening in 6 right now.
And if you don't have a machine, how can you make it?
So then you have to roll it like, you roll like a roti. So the way you do it like a roti, you just spread, like do it and do it as thin as possible. Because if you do it manually, you have to try to do it as thin, because that will be actually closer to what you get in the machine, little thick. Am I clear? No.
If you can repeat that, because like as thin as possible, you have said.
Yeah,
but can it be made without a machine? Is it possible to make it without
a machine? So in the beginning of the lockdown, we were doing it without a machine. Because also I wanted my whole team to be trained. Actually, whenever I train my people, I try to train them without a machine in the beginning. And when they know the grammar well of that particular thing, then they can use machine, because then it's so fast and like without any problem and a standardized thing. So we were actually tell me.
One other question has been asked, which is Asima is asking, can we make the noodles out of whole wheat? So if we did not want to use maida, right, can we use whole wheat flour?
Absolutely, you can do it. It will not be like exactly the same. Like your expectation of a noodle, it might not match, but it is actually quite nice. We have made it, and it's quite nice. And if you are using whole wheat, I will rather tell you that, like, if you are doing that leek, then also try that you source some indigenous whole wheat. So it is like, there are very nice whole wheat called khapli, khatia, paigambari. All these are like very, very good old style indigenous whole wheat. So if you can get hold of one of them, like paigambari is actually pink. the flour becomes almost like a light pink. So if you can get hold of one of this and do it, that is just nothing like it.
So just a little bit slower. I think couple of questions on also the dough. You just used eggs, water, and oil, right, for the dough? There
Sorry?
was no oil in the dough.
Look, you can use little bit of oil. For 250 grams, you can use between 10 to 20 ml of oil. I generally don't use oil. Like depends. Like some noodles, I use sometimes oil, but it is okay. Like if you can use 10 to 50, 10, 20 ml of oil. So anyway, now our noodles is ready. And so, like other noodles or pasta, you don't boil this noodle for a long time. It needs about 2.5, 3 minutes to boil.
So we also see that she's keeping on putting flour on it so that it doesn't stick together, or?
Yes, constantly you have to put and you have to put flour on top so that it doesn't stick. And then we actually keep it for some time. We just don't throw it immediately in the water. We just keep it for a few minutes to dry it before we put it for boiling.
And if you were to make this without using the machine, how would you then make it finally once you've rolled it? How do you make it into the noodle?
I'll show you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll show you. Let us make the sheet and I'll show you. I'll show you that. But let me also start moving to the next thing.
Sorry about this. Please do. Please do.
Yeah, which is because I want to come back and I'll definitely show you. But I'll also do my topping for the noodle in the middle because to save time.
Can we make it in bulk and can we store it?
So basically what we follow that you can store it for 2 days in the fridge and about a week in the freezer. But I personally think that storing in the freezer is not a very good idea because sometimes it breaks. When you boil it again, then it breaks if you store it in the freezer. So I always think that 2 days storage in the fridge is ideal. So I'm going to start the toppings for the noodles because after boil and for the noodles, I'm not going to do much. I'm going to make a topping and just combine everything on top of the noodle directly. And I'm not going to stir fry or fry the noodles because like in China, in whole of Southeast Asia, what I've seen that very few noodles are actually fried or stir fried. And most of them are put together with a lot of like how we eat rice. You put rice and like every time you're not having a pulao or a fried rice. You have a rice and then you put many toppings and have it. So for the noodle, I'm going to make this thing with a small stir fry kind of a thing with mushroom, carrot, ginger, garlic, and chicken. And if you don't want the chicken, you can just not use the chicken. Everything else will be the same. So I have put little bit of oil. This is regular oil, white oil. And then I am going to use like about 2 spoons of 1.5 spoons of garlic, 1 spoon of ginger, and half a spoon of green chilies. So they are finely chopped. So it's ginger, garlic, and green chilies, finely chopped, cook for 30 seconds. Then put a lot of it's actually 1 carrot, finely chopped. Then it's mushroom, also finely chopped, but I'm not going to put them right now. So the carrot is getting cooked. Meanwhile, Geeta has So the carrot is about, so this is one carrot. I didn't put the whole carrot. As you see that I have put about 70% of the carrot. And this is about 100 grams of chicken cube.
And if we don't want to make a chicken, what could we use as a vegetarian alternative?
So I'm going to use mushroom anyway. So you just delete the chicken from the recipe. It is the same for the vegetarian. So for non-vegetarian, I'm going to put a little bit of chicken, which is about 100 grams, and 60% of a medium-sized carrot. Cook it for a few minutes. And this is actually quite high heat, not like our wok in the restaurant, but like what in our Asian range, but it's about 220 is the heat, the temperature that I'm cooking. So now I'm going to put mushroom, lot of mushroom. So for vegetarian, what I suggest, use the same recipe, just don't use the chicken. And you are using ginger, garlic, green chili, and then you are going to use all the carrot and mushroom.
And substitutes for mushroom also?
If you want to substitute, actually you can put a lot of vegetables. You just put some chunky vegetables, like, I will like French beans, then what else? French beans, then in fact broccoli. Broccoli can go very well. It's another interesting story I will just mention. When you asked me this question, I just thought that when we think about, say, Chinese food, we are also thinking it's a foreign cuisine. No? So we are thinking some foreign vegetables. Actually, in China, you might put brinjal or you might put ridge gourd. Like it is like that simple.
So whatever vegetables you have on hand, you can just put them.
Not really again. Like it can't be whatever, because it has to be little chunky. It can't be very, and like if I'm using brinjal, the recipe will change little bit. So it has to be like, you can put cauliflower, broccoli, but like if you're putting brinjal, then don't put the carrots, because their cooking time is very different. So this is like lightly sauteed. Almost the cooking is done. So everything is actually cooked. I have not put any salt, as you have seen. Now I'm putting little bit of sugar. Like about, I put little, like half spoon of sugar, but it's up to you. So after this sugar, I am going to put oyster sauce. So about 1 spoon of oyster sauce, one like full spoon of oyster sauce, and 1 full spoon of soya sauce, light soya sauce. So you put that, and then you put a little bit of water to give it a moist, because when you are doing a soup, in the noodle, it should give it some moist. So after we do this noodle, I'll show you how to cut this noodle now by hand. But I will start plating stuff. So I have already boiled some noodles. The same noodle that you see here, I have already boiled it.
Can you repeat the sauces that you put? You put oyster sauce, light soya sauce. Those are the 2 sauces that you put. And oyster sauce, I think there's always a confusion. Is oyster sauce, what can you use if you're a vegetarian?
You can get oyster sauce, vegetarian oyster sauce. It's possible.
And you had said that when we cook the noodles, we cook them when we boil the noodles for 2.5 minutes, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I always, like, I have cooked in Italian, like the kitchen for a long time. So, and also in Japanese kitchen. So I always make my noodle and pasta al dente. So this is ready. This sauce is ready. I have poured some noodles. I have. Then I will just put the sauce here on the top. So this is the sauce is done. Then I'm going to put some. These are our, like, we make lots and like in lockdown we have started making lots and lots of pickle. Like we make pickle from China, from Japan, from Italy, from whatever, India. So I have put little bit of our beetroot pickle, and these are clovers that we grow in our restaurant. So we have a garden where we try to grow a lot of our ingredients in our own garden. So this is the clovers that we grow in. These are directly from our garden. And then finally our the egg. The egg is, it's a very important component of this dish. So if you don't eat egg, you can put all these different things and still it will taste the same.
And for the egg, you said once we have done that and we have boiled it, we put it in a jar to get this color.
Sorry?
To get the color for the egg, you after you've boiled it, you put it in a jar.
Yeah, in the sense that you put it in a tiffin box, you put it in a dabba, anything where the sauce should come on top of the egg. Like the water should be on top. Though it is done right now, like in no time, so it doesn't have the color. But this is how our noodle bowl looks like.
It's looking very yum, Seema is saying. Very true. I'm also getting hungry.
Now we will start our pasta, but before that, I will show you how to do a hand cut noodle. So this is actually like when you make the dough, like I'm hoping that now I'm assuming that you don't have a machine. So you cannot make this thing like this. But what you can do is that you make a dough and then you roll it like a roti, but roll it like a rumali roti and not like a other this thing. And then what you do is you fold this. So say if it is not long, still you can fold it like this. So can you see? Is it clear?
Yes, we can. Can everyone see? Can you just turn the handle of the wok, Anumitra?
I'll just remove
Yeah.
it.
Yes, please. Thank you.
What you do is you roll, you put the dough. Let it be like, let's imagine this is round and not like a ribbon. Still, you can do this, that you can fold it in smaller this thing. So if you don't make it a small thing, then it's very difficult to cut. So you make it like this. And then when you are done with this, don't put much pressure, then it will stick together, and flour it well. Then you can hand cut it. See, here also there is not much maida, so I am putting more flour, because if you don't put lot of flour, then it will not come out well. You can always take this flour off, but you have to put lot of flour. And then don't press it much and just cut it with your hand, like with a knife like this. as thin as possible, because what you think thin and what you see thin will not be the same. If you actually do very thin, it will be a medium kind of thin. So this is how you get it. So you can also then take it out with your hand, and they will be actually longer because of, like, we have a ribbon. It is not long, but if it is a roti size and you are cutting it like this, then it will be actually longer. But actually this size is also fine. You can even cut it with like little thicker. This is very nice. And when we make actually noodles which are from which we make with whole wheat, we make it thicker like this. It's very nice, nutty. It gives a very nice flavor. So this is done, Shalesh. I'll just start my favorite pasta, which is aglio olio peperoncino. So for the pasta, the most important thing of a pasta is when you boil the pasta, you have to keep the water. Pasta water is the most important thing in a pasta. And in aglio olio, why I chose aglio olio? Because it is like the basic pasta. Like you really don't need to do much. It's so little ingredient, but whatever ingredient is there, you have to choose the best quality ingredient. So in aglio olio pasta, it is the main thing is your olive oil. So I always use the most expensive olive oil I can source to use aglio olio pasta, because other than olive oil, what else you are putting? Little bit of garlic and little bit of parsley and little bit of chili flakes and lots of parmesan, definitely. But actually, basically, it's a very basic pasta. So I'm going to start the aglio olio pasta.
Now tell us, what did you do? You put the noodles back into the pasta water? What were you just doing right now?
Yeah, just I just did it to give it a little bit of moist, because I was talking and in the middle the pasta is getting dry. So I just put it back and took it. It's a very hot pasta water. When I put it back and take it out, so it just got the moist, but it didn't get cooked. It is already cooked. So now in the pasta, uh, I'll just explain the ingredients first because it's so basic. So this is our main ingredient. I'll use a little bit of onion also to give it a body. Garlic, not this much, but I'll use very little. And parsley. And then I have loads of parmesan, grated parmesan, and chili flakes. So first I'll put the olive oil.
What's a good olive oil to use?
Like it's a very difficult call, but a good olive oil in India, like whatever you can actually, like what I believe that whatever you are getting, get the most expensive one. And I have a weakness for Italian olive oil. Even the Greek olive oils are good, but now you get different, a lot of different kinds of brand. So I mostly don't use. Whenever I used to travel, post like pre-COVID, I used to carry all my olive oil, so I still have stock that I use from before. So and anyway, I just want to say something because I'm finishing this. If anybody has any query on anything, just you can send me a message on our Edible Archives Instagram account. Then we can answer and have a and tell you properly, because now we will just finish it.
One question that's coming in is about olive oil, and it's very unsustainable. Is there a better local substitute?
No, for aglio olio pasta, I don't think so. So for this pasta, I didn't switch on the gas. It's very important. It's technically, it's so basic. Even the noodle, you have seen that it's so basic, but technically it has to be right. The noodles have to be al dente, the pasta has to be al dente. So when you put the olive oil, put one chili just for the flavor, and then you switch on your pan, and not in high temperature. One more thing about olive oil, I will not use pomace olive oil. I will always use extra virgin olive oil for aglio olio pasta. For other things, I might actually, mostly we use extra virgin olive oil for dressing, for salad dressing, like for raw thing with bread and all that. But aglio olio pasta, I think that the basic thing should be that, like I prefer it with extra virgin olive oil. Some people do it with pomace, but I personally don't do it. So the chili just should, you just, I am just turning the chili little bit and like put it aside, and then I will just start throwing in my ingredients. So I will use, so I'm just 1 spoon of onion, very finely chopped, 2 spoons of garlic. These are your main things. Now I am taking this chili out. It's very important step that you take this chili out. So as you see, I have put lots of olive oil. It's this is like olive oil in this dish, and parmesan in this dish is so important that you really cannot have like you. It's not like this is actually healthy in some ways. Like I don't know, this is a controversial thing, but actually you this that if you want the proper taste, it has to be like proper olive oil. I'm not using any cream, any other stuff which you know we use a lot in India for pasta. So just using little extra olive oil is I think it's fine. So the noodle is al dente. The garlic, why I when I put the garlic, actually the oil was quite cold. So it is very important to put the garlic in cold oil. Otherwise, when you put the garlic, it will be burned. We want that as the oil becomes hot, the garlic also get cooked. So the actually the all the flavors get infused, but the garlic doesn't become brown. You have the garlic has to be little soft and translucent when you put your noodles in, or sorry, pasta in. So after this, very quickly, and the most important ingredient is your pasta water, which will keep your pasta moist. And also this is the water which will help the parmesan to emulsify. So now this pasta is getting cooked with garlic and olive oil. And now I'm going to throw in the parsley. Just a spoon, not too much. And as you see, it gives a beautiful color also. It's such a simple recipe with such simple ingredients. So this is almost done. I'm going to throw in my parmesan. You can't put it less. Just be generous with the parmesan. Now the water is still less. So I'm going to put in some more pasta water. Pasta water is everything in a pasta. Please don't throw the pasta water. Use it for your pasta seasoning. This is done. I don't want to overcook, but I'll just throw in one more dash of parmesan, and this is done. Now, lots of parmesan on top. A little bit of chili flakes. It adds the color. Also, I have seen that Indians like little chatpata. So, chili flakes work. Again, little bit of parmesan. So,
Shilpa is asking, can we make this and add vegetables also?
yeah, I'll tell you. First, I'll just show you this.
Looks yum.
And this is really simple, but it's just amazing. And this is our noodles with the same base that we are using, because we are talking about grammar.
Ahead of time, you can get 2 meals, 2
Yes.
dinners.
And absolutely, it can happen very quickly. Yes. Now we'll come to the yes.
One question Dimple is asking, that you did not add salt.
Sorry?
Dimple is asking, are we not adding salt to the pasta?
So yes, I'll tell you. This is a very good question. So when you boil your pasta on noodle, you have to put lot of salt in the water. So that actually gives the main salt for the noodle or the pasta. Next,
can you tell us how we actually boil the noodles? Because that, I think, is one part. Like, how should we boil the noodles once we've made them?
I think you should just, you have to boil water, and the water should be at least double or 3 times more than the quantity of noodle or pasta. And then you put lots of salt, like generous helping of salt. And then when the water starts boiling, you put little bit of oil, and then you put the pasta or the noodle.
And for 2.5 minutes for the fresh pasta, right?
Yes. And for the, if it is like dried pasta or packet pasta, then what you do is that in every pasta packet, they mention that how many minutes it should be cooked. So it says it's 11 minutes, or it says it's 9 minutes. So if you really like al dente, you just cook 1 minute less.
Okay. Thank you. I think a couple of people are just asking again the recipe for the dough for the pasta also.
I'll come back. First, I'll just finish this question that you said, that if you can add vegetables to
yes.
the aglio olio pasta, you can do. What I generally do is that either red or yellow bell pepper, or this thing, or zucchini. You can grill. If you are doing zucchini, then you can make thin zucchini ribbon kind of thing, and then in a flat pan, you add like very little oil and just grill that. Or if you are doing red or yellow bell pepper, then you put that bell pepper in oven, cook it, just put little bit of oil and salt, and cook it for about half an hour, and then you peel the skin, and then you can chop and add it towards the end of the pasta.
Fantastic. Thank you. So yeah. I think a couple of questions are coming in on the how to make the dough again, with and without egg.
Okay. Anything, just okay. Will you ask me questions, or you want me to repeat?
If you can repeat that, because that is the question that is coming in. Any other questions, if everybody has? If somebody would like to ask their question also, please do let us know. We will unmute you.
Yeah. So the dough, I'll tell the whole method once more. So you take 2.5, like 250 grams of flour. I'm talking about white flour or cake flour, and then you put it on the table directly. Then in the middle of the dough, in the middle of the flour, you make a small hole, and you add 3 eggs, and then you put little bit of oil, about 20 ml of oil, and then you mix this oil and the egg with a fork. always use a fork because it helps to emulsify. So use a fork and then you start adding little flour. And then at one point you will see that the thing is getting together. And when it starts getting together, you might need about 10 to 20 ml of water just to sprinkle to bind the dough. Then you knead it for another 5 to 7 minutes. In the beginning, you need to knead it for 5 to 7 minutes. We do it a little more faster because we have experience. So then after you knead it for another 5 to 7 minutes, you put it in a silver foil, not silver foil, clean foil or some kind, or in a cloth, and rest it at least for half an hour. I prefer the time should be between half an hour but not more than 2 hours for resting. After you rest the dough, you start kneading it again. Just once, a small kneading, then you put flour on top, and then either you roll it. If you are rolling it with your rolling pin, then please use lots of flour to keep it, like, otherwise it will stick. You don't want the shape of this thing to, like, if it starts sticking, then the whole method is gone. You put lot of flour, it doesn't matter because everything will get drained. Before you take it, you can dry it little bit, take off your flour and all that. So then you roll the thing or put it in the machine, and then if you are using a machine, I will ask you to, like, I will say that you do the sheet where you are using the machine has 6 number this thing, like this thing. So you use number 2 for the, so you have to start. First you put the dough in 6, then you take it out, then you put it in 5, you take it out, and 4, put it in 4, take it out, put it in 3, take it out, put it in 2, take it out. Now after your sheet is ready in number 2, then either you can put your like there are 2 grids in this machine. One is for the sheet and one is for the to cut the noodle. From the sheet, it cut the noodle. So that grid needs like I think that if you want don't do very thin in the beginning, then it stick in the pan. So you do about 2 or 3 in this, and if you are hand rolling and hand cutting, then try to do it as thin as possible, because what you are thinking is thin, it might not be as thin like what a machine can do, and you are used to a machine cut pasta. So you do it as thin as possible, but do it very homogeneous. Take time, moist the flour the dough properly, and do it like a very thin and homogeneous. Like, it cannot be thick here, thin here, like that. You have to pay that attention.
And one more time, if you're not using egg, what can we use?
Yes, if you're not using egg, look, pasta and noodle, for both the things, I will ask you to, like, start with 250 grams of flour and 120 or 130 grams of water. And it depends if you're making 130 grams of water you are using in Delhi, and if it is in Goa, it will be different because the moisture also matters. So if 10 to 20 ml water is flexible, you can use, but try to do it, knead it in a very tight way, and use again between 50 to 20 ml of oil. Also, one more important thing is that some people use salt in the dough. You can put little bit of salt in the dough, and we generally, I don't put it because then it's easy to remember that this is, like, for restaurant, like, we make some standardized method. So I have not put it, but you can always put salt. If you're putting salt, then you mix it before you put the water or egg. You just take the flour and put sprinkles of salt and mix it, and then you start putting egg or water.
Perfect. Sashi, you had a question. Go ahead. And
Yes,
there's
thank
another
you.
question from Rajni also. Can we
Thank you,
use the
Sukriti. Yeah.
Chucky mold to make noodles? Go
Yeah.
ahead, Shashi.
Yeah, chef, thank you for the simple and the beautiful recipe. It looks very yummy. I have few queries. I believe we can make these noodles using the traditional chakli mold. They have, it's the same almost chakuli mold. Chakli, we make chakli, you know.
Yes, you can do the noodles, but I am not sure about the pasta because in pasta, in the chakli, I don't think that very chewy kind of texture can come.
Okay. Just one more query. And what about the millets? Can we make millet pasta that is available? They say it is 100% gluten free. Is it possible to make pasta and noodles gluten free,
Uh,
which is
well,
available in the
noodles.
market?
So noodles, it is a very technically little more different than handling maida. So, say in Japan, they make a special noodle called soba. Soba noodle is always made with buckwheat. So buckwheat, when they make the buckwheat noodle, and it is made with buckwheat, salt, and water. No, not even eggs. But you know, soba making is also it's a very skillful thing. So it will not be as easy as you see it here. What we did, it is possible, but these ratios will not work. You have to try different ratios. I actually have not tried. I have tried buckwheat noodle, but I have realized that it is a lot more skill you need than this. This is quite simple.
Okay. Do share your Instagram page. We would like to follow you. And what is the cost of the machine that is being shown here? The pasta
Uh,
machine?
it's like you can get it between four. Like I think the cheapest you can find 3.5, 4,000 rupees to even 10, 12. So you can buy anything. Just give pasta machine, and maybe there will be cheaper version than that. I'm talking about like semi-professional machines are about like the cheapest is about 4.5 thousand.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you, Sukriti.
perfect. Thank you so much, Anumitra. I know that you guys are very, very busy, and thank you for taking the time to share with us. Any last tip before we sign off for today?
Right?
Any last tip before we sign off for tonight? I know because we are all feeling hungry now. We have to go make some food and noodles.
Yeah, I think that's all. And if anybody has like, I really want people to try it. And if you try, please tag Edible Archives on Instagram and or Facebook. And if you have any question when you are trying, actually when you do things with your hands, then you realize that okay, this is the problem. Some problems are in cooking are not actually intellectual problem; they are actually practical problems. Then please send us a message on Edible Archives Instagram. I will like soon, not very soon, maybe not on that day, but in a couple of days, I'll definitely give answer to your question.
Well, thank you so, so much. And we wish everyone a good night. Thank you, Anumitra, for sharing these amazing recipes with us. The video will be available on the Sipping Thoughts Facebook and on our YouTube site. With that, I wish you all a very good night.
Thank you, Sipping Thoughts. Maybe